Hey y'all, it's Nick. Welcome back to Berkeley Life. Today we're going to be returning with our build vlog series, and we're working on the subfloor to our skoolie conversion. Stay tuned. So once you're done with the demolition of your build and you start working on building and planning and getting things together, there's a lot of things you have to make decisions on and considerations you have to take based on what your goals are, what your budget is, and what your timeline's like. And the choices that you make have a significant impact on where you can go and how your build's going to function. Why is it so important that on your floor installation it's so important to make decisions and certain considerations? Well, for several reasons. One is that the metal your old subfloor was glued to was made of steel, and when it comes to heat transfer, steel is extremely conductive. What that means for our purposes is that whatever temperature it is outside, the metal is going to be under your floor. So basically, if it's 10 degrees outside, that metal is going to be 10 degrees as well. And much like how a bridge freezes before the road, when the wind blows under your bus, it's going to just conduct that much more cold into your floor. And the reverse is also true. If you're in a hot climate and you're trying to pump AC with your mini split or your other form of air conditioning, you don't want your nice, cool air-conditioned air to be escaping through those metal surfaces. And here's how we fix that. The decisions on which type of subfloor you go with and what type of insulation you use is based on several factors. Are you flexible enough to be able to chase that good weather and just kind of stay in a perfect climate all the time, no matter what the season is? Or do you want to be able to go into those colder climates or those hotter climates based on what your situation is for work or for pleasure? Another consideration is how much headroom do you have? How tall are you? How tall are the people that are going to be living in the bus? Is a roof raise in the option for you? Is it not in the cards? You can also install heated floors with tubes that have hot water running through them. So much like the decisions on the insulation of your subfloor and the thickness of your subfloor, those heating coils take a lot of power or propane to heat up, so your systems have to be able to maintain the heat in the floor, and your water system has to be sufficient enough to maintain that as well. So we looked at those considerations, and for us, we don't want to be chasing the good weather necessarily. By all means, we want to be in good weather as much as possible, but if we want to go to Alaska or be up in the Northeast in the wintertime, we want to be able to do that. And when we're in hot weather, we want to be able to enjoy it and have our mini split be as efficient as possible in that warmer weather. I'm 6'3", Jesse's 5'1", and the boys are smaller. They may be about my height when they get older, but for now, the headroom is really only a factor for me. Everybody else will fit in the bus the height it is. A roof raise wasn't really a task that I wanted to tackle on my own. The thought of cutting my roof off and raising it and learning how to weld on that project just wasn't really an option for me. So I ended up coming to the conclusion that it was more important for the family to be comfortable and safe than for me to have to deal with a little bit of headroom issue. And as far as the heated floors go, we opted not to go with that because I didn't want to rely on another system to keep us warm in the event we had some emergency or no power. So once our decisions were made, it was time to start applying the floor to the bus. To conserve some headroom and still maintain a good amount of insulation, we opted to go with 2 inches of extruded polystyrene foam insulation. You can find that at Home Depot in the insulation section. They come in several different types of thicknesses of boards. And then on top of that, we put 3/4 inch tongue and groove OSB subfloor from a company called Advantech. One thing that we really lucked out on was our bus didn't have wheel welds. So cutting the floor and measuring was a super easy task. So I measured and cut the polystyrene to the width of the bus, and then applied a generous amount of construction adhesive to the metal floor for the polystyrene to stick to. I started in the back of the bus, putting the polystyrene down on top of the glue and then the OSB on top of that. Over the course of 2 days, I applied weights to the top of the OSB and the polystyrene and moved from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. The weights really help secure that glue down and make sure that the subfloor is not going to move, and I wanted to give it time to set before I attached more and moved those weights off of it. There's a lot of debate online whether you should plug the holes in the metal of the subfloor before you apply the insulation down, and also whether you should put framing down around your polystyrene foam board. And as you can see, I'm not plugging the holes in the metal subfloor for 2 reasons. One is the polystyrene isn't affected by water. It's not an issue. And 2, if water ever did get between the polystyrene and the metal subfloor, I want to wait for the water to be able to escape, and those holes are perfect for that. I also didn't frame out my insulation like you see a lot of people do because, to put it plainly, you don't have to. And in fact, framing makes your insulation less effective because the R value of the wood is less than that of the polystyrene, And with the polystyrene being plenty strong enough to support the weight, we're not going to have any thermal bridges coming through the wood into our floor. We're just going to have sheets of polystyrene insulation. And to cap it all off, I put 2-inch strips of 3/4 inch plywood all along the front for ease of installation and for future framing. For this installation, I copied a lot of Chuck Cassady's ideas and products that he uses, and I can attest to the validity of what he's talking about. I'll link to his videos down below. So that's our floor installation. I hope that looking at our decision-making process and some of the things that we were considering helps you in your bus build or your van build. If you like this video, then you might like one of our other videos here or here. And please give us a subscribe and a like. It really helps us grow. And I'll see you in the next video.